Mr. Tam, do we have anybody from the public who would like to?
Yes, three. Matthew Cardinale, Ben Howard, and Brother Muhammad.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Matthew Cardinale, news editor, AtlantaProgressiveNews.com. Okay, starting with AMI and the BayHab recommendations. As I've stated to this committee before, the original recommendations that were made by BayHab were that the 15% of the units were supposed to be affordable at 60% AMI, but 10% or 2/3 of those were supposed to be affordable at 30% AMI. That requirement was opposed by the ADA and ABI and was taken out. I don't think the council was actually made aware of those changes from the original recommendations. And this is important because we need units that are affordable at AMI, at 30% AMI. If you look closely at the presentation, you'll see that they say preferred, or, you know, we would like to have some, but the actual requirement was taken out. I'd like Beltline to explain today if they can justify why that was opposed and whether it can be revisited. And I would like to know whether the council would support getting some meaningful, you know, low-income family targeted affordable housing. I saw a development that in Chicago that they just did where they have units at 15 AMI, 30 AMI, and 50. Another thing, the way we look at AMI needs to be changed. And someone asked the question, is it based on City of Atlanta or Metro Atlanta? And it's based on Metro Atlanta. And that's not reflective of the incomes within the City of Atlanta. So the programs that we do should actually reflect the people who live here. There was a chart in the presentation that said that there were some units that have been set aside at 30% AMI, and I want to know if they can tell us which ones and be specific. There was a very important slide on displacement mitigation. This idea is to mitigate displacement. This is very important. And I was very encouraged, Ms. Shepard, when you said that you were interested in inclusionary zoning, because that was one of them. Inclusionary zoning, property tax reform to protect overburdened householders, renter assistance. We need council leadership on all of these things. If I can just finish my remarks. So I'm going to be...
How long are you going to be in terms of finishing your remarks?
I just have a couple more items here to speak on.
Is that 1 second, 2 seconds? What are you saying?
Maybe another minute.
You had 2 minutes, Mr. Cardinale. You have 2 minutes. And your time is up.
Okay, well, when I came in here, the meeting was not even convened. We were sitting in the dark, and there was nobody speaking, and I didn't even see a quorum.
Mr. Cardinale, you had 2 minutes, and your 2 minutes are up. Thank you.
Okay, can I finish my remarks at all?
If you have it within less than 1 second, you can finish it, Mr. Cardinale.
Okay. Well, I think that it's very unfair. I noticed that you gave an extra 2 minutes to a developer last meeting, and I think that that's discrimination as well. She didn't even ask for it.
And Mr. Cardinale, you got time also last time. You asked for an extension, you got it also.
Well, yeah, but she didn't even ask.
Mr. Cardinale, we're going to move forward. Thank you. Now, you want to finish, or are you going to go on? Oh, fine. Thank you. Goodbye. So, who's next?
Ben Howard and Brother Muhammad.
Good afternoon, members of the committee and Madam Chairperson. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, member of the Council on Aging. I have here 10 questions that I want to ask, and the reason why I'm giving you these questions is because, as you can see, our time is restricted, so I'm not going to stand here and use my time while you answer. So the clock is running while I'm asking these questions. And for you and all other presenters, I would ask for you to help us, members of the public, out. Bring one of your little tape recorders with you so that you can tape record the comments of the public, and then you can respond to them as we sit down and better utilize the little 2 minutes or 5 minutes that these people have given us. Question number 1, why no advance copy for the committee or the public? Question number 2, I would like to see a copy of that letter that BayHab drafted. The council didn't ask for it, by the way, that allowing Jamestown to circumvent the published and publicized affordable housing quota limits for the City Hall East project. I'd like to see a copy of that letter, and I'd like to know if any copies have been given to anybody. They approved it on condition that that letter be presented, but no one said, hey, we have the letter. But at the last Monday meeting, so maybe you can respond, somebody can respond to that later. Now, 5,600 units was set as a goal established by the City Council. How often do you provide this committee and the City Council about the rate of your progress towards those 5,600, towards that 5,600 goal? How do you encourage those developers that you say you encourage to develop at 30% AMI, which is $15,000 per household, and with the focus on the word how? What is the process that you use to encourage these developers? When you're talking about a balance of rental and owner-occupied dwellings, what is that present balance? Is it 10-90 or is it 60-40? And is that balance static? Question number 6, how can we, the public and this committee, receive a copy of that brochure you mentioned that was developed by the student intern? And question number 7, 131 units is your goal. 32 have been completed, but there's only, so that's 25% approximately of the 131. There's only 57% of the funds remaining, but 75% of the units to be completed. So how do you propose to accomplish developing those 75% of the units with 57% of the remaining funds? So what is the detailed plan for that? Now, with BAHAB, you said with BAHAB we want to create a baseline of affordable housing around the Beltline. The question is, sans such a baseline, without the presence of a baseline like that, how can you folks dare to make an allowance for City Hall East to circumvent your rules? Where is your affordable housing impact statement that says affordable housing is going to be impacted to this degree because we're relaxing these rules for that $50 million Jamestown project? Number 9, for the public, how do you define going well versus not going well? How do we know, and how do you know? You say going well versus not going well. And 60% of the AMI, 60% of the area median income is $35,000. Why did you not consider 40% of the AMI, which would be about $23,000, and which would be more apropos for the folks who live in this area?
Mr. Tam, can you introduce the next person?
Brother Muhammad.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I greet you, the Community and Human Resource Committee in the West, Peace and Paradise in Atlanta. Assalamu alaikum. Now, as I understand that Beltline, the city council member, and surely this committee here, the city council member, and surely this committee here, is the law body for the Beltline. They should be answering questions and being, to me, going along with what you council member asked. Now, the reason I asked it because what I hear people are saying here today is not feasible for the people that live in your districts. Most of the people that live in your district now are at 35 or lower of income. They got housing in your neighborhood that they don't even have access to, most of the people in your district. Let me be clear with this, your district. A lot of people tell me I talk about black, I talk about black people, white. I talk about justice. I'm talking about black people that live in your district, council members. They have houses in their environments right now they can't afford to buy. But they surely don't need to be living under bridges. They surely don't need to live up under some trees. As I walk down here, I tell you all the time, you got black men, black women laying on the street. Now I heard somebody said they want to make sure we have money available so we can make purchases of land in the north. I was told by Mr. C.T. Button, Transportation Chairman. He said the reason they got amenities in the north side that we don't have in the south side, because, I talk about my street over there. I want curves, sidewalk. He said because the good white folks that got money out there, they pool their money to get together with the resources of the businessman and the city, and they're able to have all those amenities that I inquire about for the south, southeast side, southwest side. So as council members, who have also found that most of you black members have members in your district that don't even vote. Less than 30%, maybe 2.5% of y'all got elected by the people in your district. I live in the largest district. Been here, over 30,000 plus. And Miss Bottom knows she didn't get less than 10. Now you're going to tell me you're trying to benefit us? I can go right to my home and been here, see houses boarded up. I see people walking on the street, living on the street, and been here. And you're going to tell me to let these people above help come down here and tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make affordable housing so a rich man got $50,000 or $45,000, and then we're going to give him some money to be able to get the house. But yet the poor man look like you, my brother. See, I'm serious about this. I'm tired. I'm 2010, 58 years old. How long I got to wait to have justice and equality and fairness for black people? Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. We're now going to move on in terms of the agenda.
Chairman Shepherd, I asked to be recognized.
You asked to be recognized? Mr.
Yes.
Cardinale, your time is up. You had your 2 minutes and it's up.
Okay, well, this is a very important issue, and I have more to say. I requested that they come here today. They're now here. This is something that, needs to be addressed. I ran all the way here. I'm sorry that I'm late, but I don't see the purpose of having a 2-minute rule except to just silence the public and punish people.
Mr. Cardinale, we have folks here that are waiting right now to finish in terms of communication. We have actually, the purpose of this meeting is to actually do the business in terms of this before us. How many minutes does he have left? Okay, you can have, Brother Muhammad is giving you his time.
Thank you. Like I said, there were some important items on the slide related to displacement mitigation. The Beltline, what they have said is that the trust fund dollars can only be spent in the TAD, and that is true. That is why it is so important that this committee take leadership to do some of these other things. Inclusionary zoning, Ms. Shepherd, I'm thrilled that you are interested in that, and I look forward to working with you in the next year on that issue because the time has come. Property tax assistance for seniors, very important. Because the thing about it is, property taxes are going to go up. That's the way the Beltline is set up, that property taxes are going to go up when you have development. That means that renters are going to need help. That means that people who have lived in these communities for a long time are going to need help with their property taxes. Okay, same thing with assistance for renters. So I would encourage this committee to look very closely at the displacement mitigation recommendations, because if you see at the very bottom, it says, these recommendations would require additional feasibility analysis and implementation by partners other than BAHAB and ABI. That means y'all. So we're looking for that leadership, and I'm very excited about working with all of you on those. The gentleman referenced a booklet, and this was about an educational campaign about existing government programs available to assist at-risk residents. I'd like a copy of that, so if you can get with me and provide me with that. I also was hoping I would get some answers to the questions that I posed in the first 2 minutes. I can repeat them if you want, but I already asked those. The other question that I have was this down payment assistance program. The ADA was already offering a down payment assistance program, so what is the purpose of including those in, paying for that with the Beltline Trust Fund money if that was already being offered through the ADA? It seems like a waste of money, or just a way to make it seem like they're doing something when it was something that was already being done anyway. Again, I would like answers to the questions on why the Beltline opposed 30% AMI. Can this be revisited? And again, in this chart where you have the affordable housing units, which ones are affordable at 30% AMI? Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to ask Mr. Howard, I think you've given a copy of your questions to the Beltline folks. Mr. Cardinale, if you could do the same thing, all the questions you asked, if you can submit a copy to the Beltline, and yes, in writing, and a copy also to this committee members so that we can respond back at an appropriate time. Thank you so much.